Hi guys, welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to be building a simple geolocation web app using Django. So in this web app, a user is going to be able to come to this site and see his or her IP address and then data or details about his current location. So as you can see, we are just displaying simple information right here. Your location, which follows with the IP address, the country Canada, the city, latitude and longitude on the map, and then more details, country code, time zone, and zip. When you follow in this tutorial, you'll be able to see that you can add countless or more details if you want to. You can add the postal code, current address, or wherever. But for this tutorial, we only need just some simple information. And everything we're going to do in this video, the template file, which is this HTML template, and the source code to the finished project is going to be in the link below, so you can easily check if you're stuck and you can easily get the template file. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Having that said, let's dive straight into it. If you like it, please don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. Thank you so much. So now I have Visual Studio Code open on my laptop. So the first thing I need to do is to make sure I have Django installed and just create my Django project. So I'm going to come into my file folder here. This is the folder in which I want to create my Django project. I'm just going to copy it, the directory to that folder, come back to Visual Studio Code. Now I'm going to open up a new terminal. Now this new terminal is similar to command prompt or any command line interface you are using. So I'm just going to opt into that folder. Okay. So Visual Studio Code terminal actually doesn't opt into folders which has spaces in between the names. So because of this, we're just going to open our command prompt. Then in our command prompt, we can actually go into that folder. So once I click on enter, you see it goes into this folder. But in the terminal for command prompts, it prompt gives us an error. So there are also some disadvantages. So let's just use our command prompt. Now that I'm in here, what I just want to do now is to make sure I have Django installed by saying pip install Django. Now, this command line is going to install Django on my computer. But since I already have Django installed, it's just going to tell me something like requirement already satisfied, as you can see. But for you, if you don't have it installed, you should go ahead and install it. Now, let's create our Django project. So I'm just going to say Django -admin start project geolocation. So now this is going to start a project named geolocation in this folder. So if I come back to this folder, I'm going to say new project now named geolocation with the boilerplate files. So let me come back to my command line and then let me go into that folder. So in here now, I'm just going to start a new app. Let me say Python manage.py start app, and let me start the app called location. Now in this folder, once this is done, you can see now that we have a new folder named location. So that's our Django app. Okay, so let's just come back here. What we need to do now is to just run our project to make sure everything is working fine. So say manage.py run server. So as that is running, let's open our browser. Okay, as you can see, it's running on our local host. So I'm just going to open our browser now and make sure that everything is working fine. And after doing this, we can just start with building and configuring our project. So as you can see, our browser is opening up. So let me just go to my Django localhost, and now I should just see the default Django template. Yeah, the install works successfully. So let me reduce the size of this. It's zoomed out, and I'll just click on reset. So as you guys can see, it says install works successfully. So now we're just going to head back into Visual Studio Code. Right here now, what we just need to do is to come here and then open folder. So in this open folder, what I just need to do is to open that project. which is geolocation, right in here. I'm going to select this folder and then open up that project. So it's opening up. Nice. So the project is opened. And the first thing I like to do when creating a new Django project is to make sure I have everything set up. So right here, I'm just going to create a new folder which is going to contain my HTML file. I'm going to name it templates. And then in our geolocation, going to go to settings.py. Nice. So right in here, all I just need to do is to come down and first of all add this location as an app. So I'll say location right here in installed apps, in this installed apps list. So the next thing I need to do is to come into templates, and I need to show Django that anytime I request for an HTML file or for any template file, it should go to this template folder. So I can just do that by saying base there, and I'll just say slash templates like this. Now once I just click on save, I can quit this, and then now let me just move my HTML file in here. So I'm just gonna bring up that HTML file from here. I'm gonna drag it into, okay, it's opened up. So this is the HTML file, but we can close it. So let me go back there, and then I'm just gonna drag it straight into Visual Studio Code and then put it in template folder. So this is it in here. And what I just need to do now is to route my URLs. So let me come into locations, create a new file, name it urls.py. Let me say from django.urls import path, and I'll say URL patterns should be equals to a list. I'll say path, which is empty, and I'll say views.home, or let me say .index, and let me give it a name of index. So now I need to import views, so I'll say from the directory import views. Just gonna save this. So right here in views, we need to create this index function in which we are importing. So I have to say def index, then it needs to take a request, and then what I just need to do is say return render request, then index.html. But now when we run our project, it's supposed to work, yeah, but the only thing that's not gonna make it work is because we haven't configured this URL, which is the home URL. We have not configured it in the main project right here. We only configured it in our app. So let's go do that quickly. Come to urls.py. We first of all need to import include. After doing that, I'm just gonna say path. When we see the home directory, it should go to include location.urls. So we're saying you should get the URLs from our location app. Now this is saved. Let's come back to our browser and then refresh this page. As you guys can see, it shows us this template. So now what we just want to do is to make this template dynamic by passing in the data of the current location, country, and all this kind of stuff. So this is very, very easy. We're just gonna come into views.py right here. Now what we need to do, as I'm getting all the location data, I'm getting it from a site which provides an API. It's called ipapi.com. So let's go there quickly. Let me show you guys. So it's called ip-api.com, like that. So let the site open up quickly. Okay, as you guys can see, they have this geolocation API. So I'm just gonna come into API and I'm using the JSON. So we're going to get everything we need in JSON and then convert it into a Python dictionary. So as you guys can see, once we use request to get data location from this URL, it's going to return to us the country code, everything we need actually. So this is what we're going to do. All we just need to do is to copy this, and we're going to come back. Let me switch here quickly. Let's come here. Before we start, let me quickly go into my index.html. Let's change some things like this bootstrap example. Let's just say geolocation, something like that. And then let's also change this, and let's say geolocation. I think that's fine, and I don't think we need all this. So let me just go back and then refresh. Nice. So we don't need login also. I think this is the login right here. Not sure, but I think so. Let's refresh it. Yeah, the login is gone. So this is okay right now. So let's come back here into our views. So let's first import requests. And before we can import a library, we know we need to have that library installed. So for us to install this library, all we just need to do is to type pip install requests with an S. So that is going to install it for you. For me, I already have it installed. So I can just go ahead and import it by saying import requests. Like that. Now that I have this imported, I can easily use this. So let me say res. I'm gonna send a request to ipapi.com, and then I'm gonna get a data of the location and store it in this variable named res. So let's say requests.get something like this, then that URL. Now you can see that this is a particular IP address. So that's the dummy IP address in which they used in showing an example on their site. As you can see, they use this. So when we send a GET request, we should be receiving this data. So later in the tutorial, I'm also going to show how to use this for the current user's location. So instead of using this static or this same IP address, what is going to be there is the IP address of the user that is using this site. For now, let's stick to this. So we have this here. So we're sending a GET request to this URL now, and then it's going to send us all the data and store it into this res variable. So now that we have all the data, all we just need to do is to show it to the user. But as you guys can see right here, I clicked on the JSON type, and you know in JSON is called is for JavaScript, and we are using Python. So for us to be able to use this well and show the user only some particular data or the one we want, we need to change this JSON into a Python dictionary. Pretty easy. All we're just gonna do is to say so let's say location underscore data. So location data should be equal to res.text. Now this res, once it stores everything into this res variable, what is going to be here is just a response. So it's going to tell us if it got the data successfully or not. But if we want to get, as you can see, it says res, which is a response. But if we want to get all the data which was sent into this variable, we need to use the attribute.text. So that's why we say res.text. So if I print this res right now, it's just going to show me a response of 200. Okay, that means it got the data successfully. But if I print res.text, I'm going to see every single thing that I see right here. So now the res.text is stored into this location data. So now this location data has the main data we are looking for, but it's still in a JSON format. So what we want to do now is to convert it to a Python dictionary. So what we're just going to say is we need to import JSON first of all. Let's import JSON. So this JSON is built in with Python. You don't need to install any library. Just type install JSON. That is there already for you. Now that we have these, what I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna say, let's say okay, so because we're going to store it into another dictionary, so let's just save this as location data underscore 1, something like this. Now let's have location data, the main location data. So this main location data is gonna be, let's copy this, let's say JSON, which we imported, loads location data 1. So as you guys can see, it is loading this location data 1, which you know is the data which we got, and then it's loading it from a JSON format and converting it to a Python dictionary, and that dictionary now is saved into this variable, as you guys can see. So what we just need to do is to pass this variable into our index.html. That's also very easy. So what we're just gonna do, like this, and let's just say data. Let's name it data. We don't need to name it location data, and let's say location data. Now our index.html have this data. We're just gonna come here, let's print it out. Let's scroll down where we see this text, this lorem, this dummy text. Let me come here, right here. Let's just print everything which we have first. So let me just highlight all these, and then come here quickly, and let's print data. Now let's save this. Once we refresh this page, you guys can see that we have this data. The status is successful, country Canada, country code CA, region, every single thing which we need, and that is right here. And as you guys know, the reason why we got Canada, actually I'm in the UK, so it's supposed to give me my own country, right? But the reason why we got Canada is because we passed this IP address, which is a Canadian IP address. So for us to get my own location, I'm going to use my own particular IP address, or the user IP address. For now, let's just stick with this. So it's giving us all this. What we just want to do is to parse all this information. So what we want to say is your location, I will say the location of, let's say, the IP address. Then we're just going to say the country and some other things which we see we have here. And then under more details, something like time zone, something like longitude and latitude, we can write all this right here. So let's do this quickly. We have data there. So your location, let me do something like the IP address. I'm gonna write it here. So data dot, now we can see that the IP address is stored in a variable right here named query. So I'll say data.query query. Now if I come here and refresh, you can see now it says your location with this IP address. So now what I just need to do is to show the more details. So after this, let me just copy this quickly, paste it there. So I'm just gonna say, I think I'm gonna make this a list actually. So let's click on enter, UL, and then let's make some lists. So now let me say, let's see what we have. Let's say country, and the country is data dot country. Let's save this and see what we have. Now I refresh, you can see country Canada. So now let's also say we don't need country code. Country code should be in more details. Let's say, what do we need? I think the latitude and longitude should be here, and then yes, let's say this, something like this should be there. Okay, so we're just gonna come down here. Let's change this. Let's see. Okay, we also need the city. So let's say city. So the city should become data.city. Something like this. Yeah, I think it's city. Nice. And then let's see what we also need, the longitude and latitude. So let's say latitude. latitude, so is data.lat, and then the longitude also data.long. Now let's save this and see. Now you see the country Canada is Saint-Montreal, latitude, and then the longitude. Now we don't want to show too much detail like the user's address, or let's say the user's postcode, just because of some security reasons. I don't know if you guys understand, but if you want to do this, it's also very easy. We can just tap into this ipapi.com, or we can use any other API to just get it, similar to the way I did. But for this video, for this tutorial, we're not going to get too much detail of a user, just the country, the city, latitude, longitude, and all these other simple details. So now that we have this, let's just say more details. Come down here. I think I'm gonna need to copy this. Let me copy right here, and then let's paste. Okay, so what we just need as the more details is, let's say, the country code, data.country code. Let's make this a little bit edited. Yeah, country code. And we also need okay, country code is that. The region, we don't need the region name. Nope. Do we need a zip? Let's see. No, we don't need a zip. Okay, the time zone. And let's also see what we can get again. I think that's okay. Okay, I think this is the provider, internet provider. Let's also leave that, and let's just say zip. I think zip is kind of useful. So I think this information is okay. Let's just save and then refresh. So this is nice. Now we can just simply get rid of this. Now right here, I'm just gonna comment that out. Now once I save this, you can see it says your location with this IP address and all of these details which we need. So now I want to do this with the user's IP address, like with the user's location. We don't want to use this dummy location. So what we want to do is that once the user come here, what is gonna see here is his own IP address and then his own details. So that's what we want to do, and we're gonna do that in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned.